Welcome back. It's your boy Seth Garu Baxter with Maker's Bar, where we're creating 1 million leaders today for tomorrow. I'm extremely pleased to announce this other guest today because when we're talking about my series from about 2 months ago and redefining Black excellence, she's a queen among Black excellence. And I'm so happy to have her with us today. She's the CEO of Intricate Working Entertainment. She is an actress, and she is also a doula, which we're going to get into today. Some of us don't have enough information about it, and I'd like her to explore that. But before anything, we're going to explore her journey today. Ladies and gentlemen, from the Maker's Bar and Seth Garu audience, please welcome Alysia Joy-Powell. Alysia, thank you so much for joining us today, beautiful. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really great. Thank you for having me.
It's absolutely my pleasure. It's absolutely my pleasure. So, Alysia, tell us about yourself, what your origin story. Where do you hail from, and what brought you up to this point?
Originally I'm from California. I grew up in Altadena, where the fires were.
Oh, wow. I'd like to get into that too.
It was an amazing place to grow up. I grew up with my dad being an actor. My mom and dad met in an acting class. So I guess I get it honestly. But I'm a late bloomer because they didn't want me in the entertainment business. I think they were kind of fearful because I was born like very open and innocent, and they didn't want me to get hurt, so they didn't want me to get involved in entertainment, even though I was writing and putting on plays at school, and I was my dad's minion, went everywhere with him. But yeah, I didn't get into entertainment until my late 20s. And it started off in music. I was a gospel artist and then singing up for people. And then from there, somebody suggested an acting class for me. And I went there, and it kind of started from there. I've been in the business now 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a long journey. And at the same time that I have been an actress, I've also been a licensed nurse. When I got Mysteries of Laura, I had to make a decision between, working a nursing job and being on a show, full time. So acting has always been my first job, and I've let everyone know that. When I was at the hospital, when I was working, while I was there. But anything else doing with my life was a creative life. I'm very much a creative. I also make jewelry. Like I said, music was a big part of my upbringing, and writing was just as important to me. So I came kind of full circle with that. And after like being out of, nursing for about 4 years, I met Judge Hatchett and heard her story about her daughter-in-law who almost died in childbirth. And so that's what brought me back to medical field. And so I got my certificate in my doula, full spectrum doula. Also, I have a certificate in lactation counseling. I'm also childbirth educator, and soon I'll be taking a certification for spinning babies, which is like body alignment for pregnant women.
That's fascinating. I'm very curious here about spinning babies because there's a joke in there, but we don't want to be spinning babies. But
no. It's basically to help women to have an easier birth with body mechanics. A lot of times we do a lot of things that are counterproductive to birthing, like crossing your legs or the way we sit. And it kind of closes up the space for the baby to come in, or sometimes the baby will come in at a certain angle, and that would impede, birth and make labor longer. So it goes through, several things like that.
I'd like to go into that a little bit further in just a moment, but I'm very curious. You said both your parents were actors?
My mom had a scholarship to college for acting, for drama, and my dad was an actor. Yes, my mom, she became a therapist.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Interesting. And your dad stayed in acting?
yeah, he was an actor and he was a minister. Yeah,
He was a minister also.
yes.
Oh, fantastic. So, aside from your parents being in the business, do you find a certain place inside of you that triggered your love for wanting to go into acting? You said it was just
Well, of
something you knew.
course, I was my dad's, I was my dad's running buddy. I was always at the theater or at a studio with him. I grew up wanting to act, sing, dance, and write, but again, my parents didn't want me involved in entertainment. So God kind of brings you full circle with your gifts, sometimes,
Oh, yeah.
and that's what happened to me. Um, I had joined a choir at church, and for some reason, the choir director pointed me out of the group. And he said, "Your voice is amazing. You really need to do some other things with it." And I was like, "What? Me? How can you hear me with all these people?" He's like, "No, you have a gift." And so from there, I got introduced to the Gospel Music Workshop of America. And then I started singing backup for people and I traveled. Um, and yeah, I kind of started from there. And
Do
then
you remember your
I started managing artists at one point, and then that's when I got into acting.
Do you remember your first role that you really felt I killed it?
Um,
And it could be play, television, theater, whichever.
that's the thing. I've always been involved, even though professionally it didn't start until later in life. Um, So, I mean, like, I remember singing, when I was really young. My mom had card parties and stuff, and I'd be entertaining people, or, when my mom and dad divorced, I started writing a lot of stuff. I would put plays on at school, you know. Yeah, I was always involved, but seeing my dad on the stage or seeing my dad on a set, I was like, that's what I want to do. And we had a study, a library of study, and we would sit in his study and we would smoke meerschaum pipes and read scripts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we would smoke mission pipes and read scripts. And I just fell in love with storytelling. My dad was an amazing storyteller. He was an amazing storyteller. So I definitely get that from him.
And so he was really the trigger point.
Yes, definitely my influence. Yeah.
And what was the role that you feel when you first got it, you knew I did this, I got this?
I don't think that ever happened. I don't
Hmm.
think I still don't think I've ever gotten there. Um, that's not how I look at it.
Well, if you don't mind,
I don't
elaborate.
I don't know if artists look at it that way. Um, when I'm in, and I just go somewhere else. Um, I'm good at what I do, but I don't look at it like, oh, I killed that. No, it's like you become in sync and you become one with the character, and it just kind of goes from there.
Now, Mysteries of Laura, I seem to remember that as a TV show some years ago.
Hmm.
Was that Laura Linney?
No,
No, Deborah Messing.
it was Deborah Messing.
That's right. I tend to remember some of that stuff. Mysteries, that was kind of a cool show.
It was a great show. Mhm.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was
I
a good
remember
show.
that. It's funny you said that because I thought as soon as you said, "Oh yeah," and so your experience on there was that really your feet wet were okay. I see this business for what it is. I know this is my vocation. If that was the case, why go into being a doula?
Again, I was a nurse the whole time that I've been an actress. I'm not the kind of person to wait tables, and I got my nursing license because I just wanted stability. I'm an artist, but I still,
Okay. Okay. I get
require
that.
stability, and so I was a nurse the almost the whole time of my career until 2014 when I got my Streets of Laura.
Okay. Oh, that okay. Fantastic story. How
Yeah,
was Deborah Messing?
great. It was great. I mean, it was a great show. I really enjoyed it. And, NBC is not a bad network to be on. So, and
No.
we came before Law and Order, so it was a good show.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now tell me, with your between singing and acting, since you were doing gospel, you still participate in singing as one of your loves?
Music is my love, but not really singing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Elaborate if you don't mind.
I'm musical. I'm just a musical person. I noticed that the way I write is rhythmic. So music just speaks to me. It's very spiritual for me. But I don't, sometimes the most brilliant people have fears and stage fright and stuff like that. And um, singing was always a challenge for me. Acting is easy for me. I mean, it's very off the top of my head. Um, I love drama more than comedy because comedy is real easy for me. It just comes off of me. But drama makes me work harder, and I like that. I like the challenge. I don't get a whole lot of opportunities to do drama, except for Judas and the Black Messiah. That was one, but I enjoy the challenge.
I've often heard comedians or those who do comedy are the best dramatic actors because they have so much draw upon. Do you find that's the same process for you?
I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. Um, as much as I'm just a storyteller, and whatever story I'm telling, I'm I'm committed to it.
Mm, I
Yeah,
get that.
yeah.
Your process. What is your process like when you get a character? Do you go away to a mountain retreat or we hear often part of how one gets into their character, they have different processes, whether it goes running or going away for a while. Do you have your own process?
The thing is that having a gift, and I come from, a long line of healers and
Mm,
seers, so I have spiritual gifts. Creativity has always been a spiritual gift for me. So when I read dialogue from a character, it speaks to me. It
mhm.
tells me what it needs for me. Um, and I go in. I'm just available that way. And so I don't have a long process. I can ask questions and things like that to make me go deeper. Um, but I don't have like a process like that.
Okay,
Um, other than asking questions.
I
Yeah,
get
it just somehow it lives in me. It's like spirit. It speaks to me.
I'm very curious because you mentioned that healers, you come from a long line of healers and seers. Can you elaborate on that? Healers and seers, what were they? Who are they?
Well, my great great grandfather was a preacher and a healer. He also helped found Grambling University.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. There were a handful of farmers. My great great grandfather got chased out of somewhere else where they had property, and by the Ku Klux Klan, of course, and they ran to Grambling, and it was new soil for them, so they didn't know how to aggregate it. So they wrote George Washington Carver and asked him, could he come to tell them how to till the soil or what they could do with the soil because it was so different than what they had worked with before. And he came and he helped them, and that started the Agricultural College of Grambling University.
Oh, what an incredible story. That's a wealth of history. Seriously.
Yeah, and so people would come all over from the parishes to see him for healing. My mother, she
Well,
passed about a year
real
ago.
quick, can I backtrack on the healing part? Healing because of the way there was agricultural food
No,
available.
no, no,
Okay.
no, no.
So the healing,
I mean,
explain the healing.
that's what I was going to do. Healing, I mean, of laying on of hands.
Oh, yep.
There's energy that comes. Sometimes there's energy that usually comes from the palms of the hands, and you can remove illness. Pain can be removed. That's what I'm talking about with healing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so seers, prophetic. We used to, I seem to remember when we were younger, we used to call them prophetess or prophets. Is that along the same lines?
I would say so. Some people may call them psychics or whatever, but yeah. I
So see,
come from
you
a family with spiritual gifts.
and mainly from the church, though.
No.
No? Oh, okay. And that's what I was trying to get into. I was just
I mean, the gift is from God, but it didn't originate in the church. It originated because God gave a gift, and the gift just manifests.
oh yes. And see, I've heard that, and that's why I want to explore it a little bit more because I know sometimes the term seers means different things depending on the different
Yeah,
religious
it's
system.
not a gift from God is not connected to the church. The church is a building.
Yes.
And it's a building where we come together and we support each other, and we commune together. That's what we're supposed to do, and that's what the church is supposed to be for, is for communing. But a relationship with God happens individually,
Mm-hmm.
or corporately. And so, yeah, my mom, I had a really wonderful upbringing because my mom did not force religion on me, even though I went to parochial school. My mother did not introduce religion to me. She wanted us to find God ourselves. But I remember as a very young girl having visions and seeing spirits and having to deal with that, having to deal with
Mm-hmm.
those gifts.
Do you mind if we go into that a little bit deeper?
Oh my gosh.
Just a little. Is that okay?
Okay.
So when was that part of what helped your process in your career, having those people around you, that encouragement of having spirits as guides or different people giving spiritual guidance? How was part of that in the evolution of Alysia?
Um, I don't think one thing had to do with the other. Um, I know when I was younger, I had a spiritual guide. I had a quote unquote invisible friend longer than the normal term of a invisible friend. So I know I had like an angel that I actually talked to and was with me. I knew certain things that was like revealed to me when I was little. Um, I would tell people stuff, and they would, then they would tell me later that things would, come to pass. But it didn't. I I would say my spirituality does help with my creativity because it's one and the same. I mean, it's the gift that I got from God, but my spiritual gifts, as far as seeing or my healing, comes in different places. My mother was incredibly strong, um, incredibly wise, and had an amazingly powerful gift. And I don't think I'm like her. I use it when I'm told, but I don't use it on purpose. So my mom was always trying to get me to use it on purpose, and I don't. Um, but God has always been with me before I knew what religion was.
So you said you only use it when you're told. Told by whom? A person requesting information from you, or from one of the
No,
guys?
God will give me a message, and I'm responsible to give it.
Oh, I did that. Absolutely. Does it play a role in being a doula, the spiritual guidance?
Birthing is very spiritual, which is why I'm moving away from that, um, because it takes a lot out of me, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And I think after my mom passed, I didn't have the capacity for it anymore, to
Mm.
give of that magnitude. So I'm teaching now. I'm moving into teaching, and I'm just starting a nonprofit as well. So I'm really excited about that.
Please share, if you don't mind, share with us.
I have a nonprofit called Sea Love Foundation. It's named after my mom. My mom's name is Clementine Love. Um, and it is educating, mentoring, providing career development and scholarships to young people from 12 to 25 to introduce them into careers in filmmaking.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So the launch is coming up.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
What made you get into that area? What was your inspiration?
God told me. honestly, I honestly what it
That's all
was.
right. That's all right.
I can only be honest.
Yeah, that's all. That's all we want here is the honesty. If anything, it's just to get to know you. So please share.
y- um, I've been working on a short. I wrote a short, and I've been, you know, these are all things I've not done before, So trying to figure that out. I was going into fundraising for the short, and I was also trying to figure out where I belong in the world now. When my mom passed, we were incredibly close, and my mom died very suddenly, and it shook my foundation. And it's been a year of healing. I wasn't sure where I was in my world, and trying to find my way. And to be honest, the entertainment business hasn't given to me what I've given it.
Mm,
If you can
interesting point.
if you can
I
understand.
can. I think that's actually well stated. It's pretty clear.
Yeah. And I was kind of a little disillusioned, and I was gonna give up acting. And then I had been back and forth between I live in Brooklyn, so I'm in Brooklyn, New York, and my home is Cali. So I was back and forth a lot this past year, being with family and stuff, making sure, because I'm the matriarch now, making sure everybody's all right, and spending time and loving on my family while we healed. And my friends were saying, nah, you can't do that. That you can't do that. And I was like, like I don't have nothing left. Like I can't do it. And I was like, nah, it's not over. It's not over. And then God told me one day, it's your time in front of the camera is not over, but there will be a shift. And so, like, I got a new agent, and things started changing for me. Auditions started coming back in because I took a year off as well from acting. Um, and I was, you know, pursuing, because I'm going to be directing my short as well as being in it, which is a lot. But I was pursuing that. I have a team that's around me that's helping me with that. And I was trying to figure out how to raise funds for this short. And then God dropped this idea on me. And I was like, what? And so all of a sudden I was introduced to somebody who was a nonprofit mentor. He has a company that kind of, leads you through everything. And I told him what my idea was, and he said, oh my gosh, he said, this is huge. I don't think you realize what you have. And I was like, what? And he told me, And I was like, oh my gosh, ever since then, it's just been growing and growing and growing and growing. And everybody that I run into, everybody that I talk to, all my friends, I keep running into people that I know, but from actors to teachers to, grant writers to directors to everybody. And everybody said, whatever you need, you got it.
Say
And
what?
so it's been really miraculous. Even the other day, I was doing something for my doula work. I had to educate these teen boys, and I get nervous around kids. I'm good with babies, but people who talk make me nervous. People who talk back, I say, make me nervous. Uh, so I had to talk to these teen boys, and it was a basketball program, but I had to talk to them about health and sex education. So I did that, and then I ended up staying the whole time. And the coach had a diabetic episode, and I helped him and everything, and I stayed the full time and looked over things and stuff. And then after it was over, I don't know how I even mentioned the nonprofit, and he said, "Do you have a board?" And I said, "Not yet. I'm looking, for people to be on my board." And he just started giving me all this information, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's what I had asked for."
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and I was like, I just told him he was such a blessing to me, and I was like, it was such a blessing for me to stay because I would have missed it.
Yes.
So me doing a good service to somebody else, I was blessed in turn. So yeah, it's a journey. I'm excited though. I'm really excited. And it's giving me a new purpose and something to live for. And there's a movement happening. There's
A movement. Please elaborate.
with our folks, with Black folks.
Yes.
Um,
And what do
there's
you,
an
let's go.
attack. There's an attack on us, but we are not bothered. We are not bothered. People are moving. People are doing stuff. People are collaborating. People are getting together. There is a movement
I've
happening.
noticed it. It definitely is. There is a groundswell I've been noticing, but I'm curious what you're seeing as that movement. Describe it if you don't mind.
Like I said, people getting together, people collaborating, people, pulling resources, people doing projects. Like, there's all kind of things happening, and even across continents. Africa, at one time was kind of hating on us a little bit, but now it's like they want to partner now. They're reaching out. And so even across lands, we're reaching out to each other, and we're coming together, and we're supporting each other. And I'm waiting for Black Panther Party to come back. I mean, like, it's a movement. It's a movement.
Wait,
I
not
I
that.
just heard. I just heard the other day.
Wait, Alysia, you said
Yes,
you waiting for the Black Panther Party to come back. I didn't think they ever left. It seems as if they just got kind of subdued a little until the timing is right and the plot and the planning was happening. You didn't share that experience?
I just need us to be a little bit more vocal, a little bit more militant, a little bit more present.
Jasmine Crockett's is out there.
Yes, she is, but she a Black woman. The Black women are speaking out. I'm like, okay, where we at now? Black
Well,
women,
you got
Black women ain't scared. Tamika Mallory, we ain't scared.
Tamika Mallory.
I'm just
Well,
saying, we're not scared.
no, I see it. Well, you know what? The men are
Come
out there
on,
too. I
on
gotta say.
MSNBC, we ain't scared. Joy Reid, we ain't scared. The Deltas, they ain't scared. They put on their red, they not scared. I'm telling you, we're not scared, but I love y'all, but I need y'all to show up.
Wait, so you love
Cory Booker and Hakeem Jeffries, they like skiing outside by themselves. Come on, I need to know where. Come on, where the help at? Where the help at? I'm just saying, like I
wait.
I would need to feel a movement. So the other day I heard about this black town. I don't remember where it was, but it's an all black town. And
You remember what state by chance?
I don't. It was some
Okay.
neo-Nazis that came and you know how they do when we doing, they be trying to do. When they see that we doing our own thing, minding our own business, here they come. So the neo-Nazis came in and tried to do a little ruckus and got ran out of there. So then I think the next weekend, the Ku Klux Klan came in.
I did read something about this. I don't remember myself, but I remember hearing about it.
So the boys suited up. They said, "Who the who?" They suited up. They put on their gear. They must have got a clearance still from some kind of military base or something. They put on their gear. They got some rifles.
Alysia.
They got on their scullies, you know, and they walking kids from school because this happened.
I did see this, yeah.
They did this when the school let out. So it's like they're trying to intimidate the students. Yes. And so now they walk the kids to school. They look out for the women in the town. They was like, this ain't gonna be another another Wall Street. This ain't gonna this ain't gonna be another Black Wall Street.
No, I did read enough about it.
Our town and we keep it intact. We ain't messing with nobody. We got our own thing going on. And what you ain't gonna do is burn up this town right here. Mm-hmm. So I need a little bit more, just a little,
Alysia, it's a serious subject, but you make me laugh. You said they got suited up, not suited up.
Yeah, they got suited up. They said, who got gear on sale? They call Big Five. They call. I'm telling you.
Wait. Oh no, Alysia, you said they call Big Five.
And said, what y'all got in camouflage? What you got in camouflage and bulletproof vests? What y'all got down there? So we need a shipment over here. Can you put a rush order in?
Man,
they suited up and said, we dare you. We wish you would. That's what they got signs all over the town saying, we wish you would. Enter at your own risk. We got our own sundowner thing going on over here. Come on. Come through. See about me.
Oh, man. Alysia, you said,
come see about
Alysia.
Me. Come see me. Come see me. But you might want to go home for the sun go down. Y'all remember that, huh? Yeah. I need a little gangster. I need a little bit of gangster to show up. You know what I mean? I mean, like, how long have we been suffering? How long have we been under degradation? How long have people said the wrong narrative? How long have people stolen our history? To say that we're anti-Semitic, but you stole our history. And if we recite our correct history, you say we're anti-Semitic? Come on. Yeah. Stop lying. But there's a propaganda to it, because if we believe the lies, then we can never rise up because we think we don't come from nothing.
So you don't think there's been progress enough made, or we regressed? What are you seeing it as?
There's a lot of things that happened with slavery, and there's a lot of damage that was done. No, we can't get past it, because what was ingrained and what was done to us is trauma that we carry in our bodies that has actually changed our DNA. So no, that's not something you just get over, because nothing has changed. You don't feel no, because you don't feel differently about me. And as long as you get to have a say on, how you feel about me, and it's not equal to anything else, then that's a problem. So yeah, we have regressed. We've gotten our civil rights taken away from us. We have gone backwards in hiring. So they're not hiring us. the next thing would be, land and property, that they're making sure this new administration is making sure that we have nothing. But the funny thing about it is you're not that smart. That's the problem. You're really not that smart.
So when you say we'll have nothing, meaning in particular we as Black people or we as the country?
No, we as Black people, they're trying to take everything from us. Mm-hmm. They're trying to take everything from us. But the problem is that you're not that smart. And we have been kissed by the sun. We've been kissed by God. We've given natural abilities that we have survived this long. And so because of that, like I said, they're coming at us from every angle. And in the meantime, there's a movement.
I like to hear
what we do. That's why we are survivors. We're overcomers. We're conquerors. We are originators. We're creators.
Creators.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some other people, they're copiers. They're stealers. They're destroyers.
Who is the they? Let's talk about the they. When you say the they, now, is it just the administration, or is it the they as in hierarchy of wealth behind the scenes? Who, when you say,
I don't think if you look at this past election, that didn't have anything to do with wealth, because common people voted. You know what I mean? It had something to do with wealth, but it didn't have everything to do with wealth. As long as my neighbor next door thinks that I am beneath him, that he can just come and shoot me because I crossed his grass line and not get arrested for it. When somebody could come up to me and not know me and think they could put their hands on me or tell me where I belong or where I don't belong, or that I shouldn't have that, or I get stopped because somebody thinks I shouldn't be driving the car that I'm driving, or if I buy a house in a certain neighborhood, they're going to tell me, you don't live here. What are you doing in this neighborhood? That's not wealth. That's a mentality. That's a mentality.
Who has this mentality that's doing this? Are we saying this is the country?
I don't want to go into that so much, but I mean, it's racial. I mean, let's not pretend. It's racial. And, there are certain people that are invested in the propaganda because it keeps us divided. And as long as we stay in groups of people, we have no strength. When we start realizing as a community and then as neighbors, we have more strength. That was the problem with this election to me, is we stopped thinking about our neighbor. We started thinking about us as a community. We were only thinking about how much my eggs cost, what I'm going through. I got mine, you get yours. No, that is not how the world is supposed to be. That's not how. We are not an island. We are not supposed to be lone wolves. That's not how we're supposed to be, but that's the mentality. And because of that, we couldn't get together to decide what was best for us, what was in our best interest. But we were thinking about our individual interests, and we didn't even get that. And that got us in trouble. And that philosophy is not an African philosophy. I went to Hawaii, and they are very serious about preserving their land and their world. You can't even wear certain sunscreen. There were white people taking pictures with the turtles and stuff, so then they had to block that off, so you can't even get to the turtles because you don't understand that you have bacteria on your hands that can kill a turtle. But because we think we're so dominant over animals in society that we don't have respect for it, we end up destroying it. But they don't play. You're not coming here to destroy our land. Our land, the indigenous, they are the protectors of the land. They are the protectors of earth. There's a responsibility, there's a stewardship to that. And the clear peoples,
The clear people.
the peoples want to conquer and destroy and command. And we have destroyed our poor earth. Think about the animals we used to have when we were little that do not roam this earth anymore. And greed is rampant.
I agree with the greed. And I'm curious when you say, okay, what you're saying sounds to me, we need a return to spirituality, foundational spirituality, and not just we as Black people, but we as a whole. Are you saying just we as Black people need to return to that, or we as a whole of people as humanity?
I wish that it could be humanity, but going on history and how things have formed, how we have been colonized, I don't know how much humanity there was in that. So I would have to say certain tribes were the holders of humanity. Other tribes.
Certain tribes.
Yeah. I mean, the indigenous Black people, there's certain tribes that were the holders of humanity. Asians, but there are other people who practiced in conquering and taking over and stealing and predating and pillaging and this is I own this now, and that's always been but there needs to be harmony.
So the harmony that we talk about is a couple of things. There was such a wealth of information. I want to go down the roads. Lots of Black people voted.
How did we get here? What are we talking about? It got deep real quick, didn't it? It got deep real quick. I thought I heard music at the top, but ain't no music playing now. It's
just why you do that? Oh no!
It's like, yeah, I'm not around here. I'm like, what happened? How we get here?
Oh man, Alysia, why you do that? Alysia, oh man. You know what happened? I saw you turn a corner and I was thinking, oh yeah, this is an interesting thing. So I turned the corner and I was thinking, this is going to be interesting to talk about.
And then we went down the street and never came back. We're just walking and just walking. We never came back. Now, what are we talking about now? Let me look at my agenda. I got my card.
Oh,
you ain't said their question that was on that card. You ain't been their question on there. You didn't make. You hit question one and ain't returned back to it.
Wait, it's like when we were kids and the ice cream man was around the corner, and our parents said, "Go get the ice cream and come back home." We went around the corner and got the ice cream. And we stayed playing with our friends.
And then the street lights came on and we got in trouble because we were still around the corner. You ain't gonna get me in trouble today, Mr. Baxter. No, thank you. Had the popo looking for me. Had me put in one of them El Salvadorian jails and stuff, be butt naked with a fake tattoo on my hands. No, thank you. Oh, no. Just for the record, I am not MS-13. Just for the record. You can print that.
Oh no. Oh no. This is went off the rails. I did not expect this. Oh man. Alysia, see, you said hi.
We real far. We how we get down the street right here? We went past the bus stop, the train, and everything. I need an Uber to get back.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yes, said you gonna owe me money. I mean, Chairman Fred gonna be happy about this conversation, but I'm in trouble. They're gonna be looking for me.
Oh no. This
I'm just saying, get my bail money ready. That's all. That's if you got some. I'm gonna need some bail money after this conversation airs.
Oh no. Oh no, man. Alysia. Oh boy. Why you do that, Alysia? You said how we get here.
So how you start your podcast? What's going on with you? Let me turn this interview around here.
Oh man. Wow. Alysia. Wow. Alysia. That was an unexpected, delightful journey. And then why I had to say we got to call an Uber to get back.
Because we went so far down the street. We can't walk back. We got to take an Uber back.
Oh, wow. I got to tell you, since I've been podcasting, and there are people who get me to laugh, but this was a moment. And audience, I thank you, the Make It Smart audience. Please forgive me. I did not anticipate that. I did not anticipate that.
In closing, we got to be right. That's all. Before Jesus come back and wipe us all out and say, y'all fucking up and it's just too much for me. I'm going to just start over again.
Oh, man.
It's not like we can get some wood and some steel together to build another boat like Noah because we didn't got the stairs now.
Stop it.
It's going to be a very expensive boat and only a couple of people can get on. Yeah, it ain't like when Noah did it. Gotta go say, forget y'all. I'm gonna drive me crazy. I'm just start over. I did good with the first time with the first batch I made. I can make a new batch.
Oh no, wow.
I was just always saying, like, why Trump won't just die? Like, why don't you just fall down or something? Like, it's a lot of people that went to see Jesus and he just hanging around for no reason. I mean, he eat McDonald's. You would think he have a heart attack by now or something. Come on, man. Like, give us a freaking break.
Oh no.
It's so easy to get hit by buses these days. He won't get hit by a bus. He just won't.
So, Alysia, let's talk about being a doula.
He could always fall in the pond. Don't he golf? Don't they have ponds at the golf course? Just fall down and just won't get up. I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
So what I'm trying to do with my foundation is I'm trying to create a new crop of people.
Oh,
and not actors, even though I love acting and I love to see when people get the aha moment and the light bulb just come on. But what I wanted to see is us get back to the art of making film. And I want people to explore all the other things about filmmaking, like hair and makeup, like craft services. You know, it don't go down unless you have good craft services. If somebody is shooting a film and you don't have craft services, you ain't got a cast. I'm just saying, ain't nobody gonna show up. Um, a good grip, lighting, cinematography. Um, I want to teach financial literacy.
Yes.
All those things that I want these kids to go through my program. They'll get a certification after the program. And I'm hoping that I'll build a name that when somebody comes through with that certification, they'll know, okay, they're excellent. You know,
Yes.
they know what to do, you know.
Yes.
And so I'm working on getting partnerships together. So anybody out there, holla at me now. I'm gonna go to my friends at Warner Brothers and see what they got to do. Charles King, I'm coming for you. Coming to Macro. I'm gonna go over to Panavision and see what they got for me, and talk to some people at Apple. And I mean, I just want to partner with people, and I want to make this happen. And I want to, once I get it settled in New York, then
Yes.
I'm going to go to Cali with my program. I have a friend who wants to go to the UK, and Ghana has been calling.
Yes.
So,
Well, so it sounds like the foundation is going to be the expansion of the next phase of where you want to go in your career.
yes. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm still going to be behind the camera, in front of the camera as well, but I'm excited about the legacy that of the potential of what I'll be leaving. Since I
Absolutely.
don't have kids, these are my babies. So,
Yeah. No, I get that. And as creators, what our gifts are, and when we create, they do become our children. I do have a son and sons, and so, but I get how the nurturing and bringing it to fruition and bringing it to maturation, they become our kids. So I definitely understand.
yeah, because I am a nurturer. I mean, that's how I
Yeah.
got into nursing, because
Mhm.
I'm a nurturer. I'm good at that. I'm good at loving. So
Oh
I
yeah.
want to sprinkle that on our next generation, and um, give them a foundation to spring off on, and some confidence, and love on them.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Not to break out into the moments that just occurred a few moments ago, but 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 we were talking about the topic of masculinity,
Yeah.
and does that play a role in how this new evolution is to occur? And what do you see as today's masculinity?
I can't speak on what it takes to be a man.
Mhm.
I
Just
don't
not even speaking on just what it
I
takes to be a
don't
man, but masculinity itself.
you know what, I don't know about that, because people are individual, and I think that's a very individual thing. I don't think that's like a global or commutative thing, you know what I mean?
Yes.
At the
Mhm.
end of the day, I want to feel loved, I want to feel safe, I want to feel cared for.
Absolutely.
At the
Absolutely.
end of the day, it's just that.
Yeah.
There are people who do it harder, some people do it softer.
Mhm.
Some people think have different ways to show that. And it's
Mhm.
not up to me to dictate how people love,
I
you
get that.
know? And so
Yes.
I don't have a definition for that. All I
Okay.
need is, when I'm in the company of, I want to feel protected, I want to feel honored, I want to feel safe, I want to feel
Yeah.
loved. you know and that
Yeah.
has nothing to do with sex or anything, but that's just, and I in turn have always made it my business to make people feel loved and appreciated and honored in my presence.
Absolutely. And I think that is ultimately all of our goals is to feel loved and secure.
Yeah.
And part of what I was saying that is in the roles of today's man, the challenge is to help women and others, whomever you choose to be with, and even not just intimately, but
Mhm.
is more love has to come in here. So when you talk about harmony and unity, a big part of that is not just the aggressive and assertive, but it is to
Right.
be more it is really, I do wholeheartedly believe love is the biggest part of that.
It is,
And
and it's
yeah.
individual, because it's what an individual needs. I mean, you're
Yes.
supposed to read the room. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You're
Mhm.
supposed to read the room and know
Absolutely.
what people need.
Yes.
You know, um, I may go into a room, and like a couple of weeks ago, there was a girl there, and I'm not just picking up something from her, and I said, "Are you okay?" And she just broke down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes you
Yeah.
just need to read the room and be available for what people may need, and be available to give that. Sometimes we're not in a place to give.
Mhm.
And in a society where they've taught us greed, it's so individually selfish. Like,
Yeah.
because everybody's not asking. It used to be, what can I bring?
Yeah.
Now it's, what can I take off the table?
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know, when you come to somebody's house, you bring a bottle of wine, or, you know, you bring something to put on the table. You know,
Mhm.
literally, you know, that's what
Yes.
we
Yes.
did. That was just
Mhm.
proper etiquette, right? You come to somebody's house, you bring something.
Mhm.
Now people trying to figure out, well, what they got?
Mhm.
Like, what they got? What can I get? You know, it's
Yes.
changed. You know, the
Yeah.
verbiage, the mindset, everything has changed. And
Yeah.
because of that, we are less loving, we're less attentive,
Yes.
we're less aware, we're
Mhm.
less present.
I think it's very true. To me, I was sharing recently that the biggest way we can return to a uniform harmony or harmonious, better living standards is returning to what love is about and spirituality. And to me, those are primary in trying to be able to reestablish our connectivity. Is really finding where that place of love is, and our higher authority than us. I think, and looking at that foundationally is what will help us come back to those terms. And you
And
know what?
at the end of the day, because the Bible is based on two things,
Mhm.
from Genesis to Revelations: love and balance.
Mhm. I hear you.
Love and balance.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
hear that. Well, I think there's something to be said about the pursuit of a higher authority and the journey that one individual takes in pursuing a higher standard of living. I think that's where that love and balance comes in, and what the Bible represents in that sense to that. And I think, you know what? Unfortunately, people feel nervous about having conversations about spirituality because everyone feels they'll be judged, as opposed to approaching it through a loving view, a loving lens. You can believe differently, but we can come to a loving bridge that they can be respectful of each other's individual belief system. In
I've
the, in
never
the
had that problem
Mhm.
because it's a part of who I am.
I get
So
that.
I talk to people like they know what I'm saying. And they
Oh no,
usually do. And they usually, you know, resonate from them. I'm not telling you who your God is, but I share out of my experience. I can only tell you what my experience is and
yes,
how it's true for me. And
Mhm.
people seem to resonate with that.
I get that. Well, you're talking through spirit. You're talking through the full of yourself. To me, if we talk through spirit, we're talking through the truest sense of ourselves, and that tends to be a connecting point. If you're talking from spirit, you're talking through truth.
Yeah.
That's the way I believe.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes. So I've never had anybody. I mean, I've been in different situations, even devil worshippers and things like that. And, you know, I've always, no, seriously. Um, I remember one time in an acting class, this girl approached me, a friend approached me, and she was telling me, you know, she was saying, you know, like, what is it, you know, about you? You know, she said, there's a spirit that comes from you. And I just told her, you know, about me. And she shared with me that she had been dabbling, you
Oh,
know.
wow.
And another time, as a nurse, I worked in a psych ward for a while. And it was a high priestess that was in there.
Wow.
And one time I was making rounds one night, and he was in the the I, I want to say dining room, but it was like the recreation room. And I turned on the light, and he rose up on me, and he started saying all his stuff, and I just start calling on the Jesus in him, and
Mhm.
things calmed down.
Yeah. Oh
You know
yeah.
what I mean? So like I just recognize love and God in everybody. And
Mhm.
I don't know, I've always talked like people know what I'm talking about. I've never
I think that's a great way to. Well, to me, I think that's the best place. I think we really, that is where we want to communicate from, the deepest source of who we are, the truth point. And I think you hit it on the head with that. I really do. And if you talk to people like they already understand, most of the time they will. It's just a matter of meeting them there. I've often said that.
yeah, because we're spirit.
Yeah.
We're spirit first.
Hmm.
We're human second.
Hmm.
And like I said, whatever you believe, whatever your God is, it's still spirit. We come from one, really. I remember when I was younger, my dad gave me this map. It was this huge poster map, and it showed how we originated from one religion and actually when chronologically it broke off to other religions,
Hmm.
you know?
That's
And
that.
yeah, and so somebody said, you know what? I like my Jesus kneeling down. I'm gonna do kneeling down Jesus. Oh yeah, well I like Jesus on Sunday. Okay, you like Jesus? I like Jesus on Saturday. You like Jesus on Saturday? Yeah, I like Jesus when I have a whole lot of wives, and like you know what I'm saying. And then it got all people worship how they worship,
Hmm.
but it's the same spirit.
Hmm.
It's really the same spirit.
I got to say, that's a perfect place for us to bring this to a closure. Alysia, I have not had this experience yet.
If you do run, don't you see this coming at you again. Just run in the other direction.
This has been so much a joy and a laughter and an unexpected delight that
Oh,
I
thank
just have
you.
treasured our time together. And then when you said we done left and how we get here, you started off real delicately smooth and intellectual, and then we got here. And then what part we got it? How do we get here? And I must say, that was the sheer height of my joy of humor today. Because when you said it, I had to pause and say, wait a minute, yeah.
Well, who gonna pay for this Uber for us to get back? I should you a bill.
Yes, yes, because it was worth it. It was so worth it. Alysia, you just made my whole day with your beautiful smile, your intelligence, and actually, quite frankly, your advocacy and activism and spirituality and
Thank
where you come
you.
from. This has been such a pleasure. I definitely will talk to our Duke here how joyous this was to meet you and speak with you and grace us with your presence to our audience here in Maker's Bar.
Thank you, Seth, for the ride.
It was, and I told you I got you in the Uber. I'm gonna call them
Okay.
later.
Let's do it.
So,
It's gonna be
Alysia,
here in 5 minutes. I called it.
so Alysia, where
Yeah.
can people contact you if they want to learn more, not only about you being the CEO of Intricate Working Entertainment and as a doula, but just so they can get some sense of the joy that you gave to our audience today. Where would you like them to reach you at? What would be your social media contacts, etc.?
I am Alysia Joy, Alysia Joy Powell on everything. And my Sea Love Foundation. I'm working on a website, working on social media. So yeah, you can contact me on Sea Love Foundation or Alysia Joy Powell on all platforms.
Beautiful lady of joy. I use your middle name. That's what I'm just gonna call you from now on. Joy. Just you just brought
It's been a
just
journey because I'm just now getting it back. It took me a while after my mom left, but I'm getting it
I
back, and
understand.
so I'm feeling better. Yeah.
Well, I have to say after this moment of breaking, it's back.
All
if,
right, Sam.
yes, if this is any indication, oh yeah, it's back. I got to tell you, it was such an honor and a pleasure, my beautiful. It
Thank
really
you
was.
for having me. I
It truly was a
appreciate
pleasure.
you.
I appreciate you too. Thank you for sharing this with us today. So, audience, we are so pleased to have had Alysia Joy-Powell with us, CEO of Work Intricate Working Entertainment, as well as a doula, as well as a comedian, as well as a sheer joy of spirit and an insight. This was a sheer opportunity for the pleasure of being able to speak with her. The revolution of love is coming our way, and it's the revolution that we want. It is all filled with love. Let's start the revolution of love, the Lovolution. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm your boy, Seth Garu Baxter with Maker's Bar, creating 1 million leaders today for tomorrow. We will definitely have to have her back where I can actually bring a little more sense of calmness and try restraint of laughter. And next time, she'll pay for the Uber. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, Alysia Joy. I will be speaking to you soon, my beautiful.